even understand what's happening until they actually see it happen. The first thing these children carry is guilt. They constantly feel like I could have done something or I should have done something that would have avoided this divorce.
Right.
And most of them live life feeling like if only I was a better child, Daddy would not have left. If only I was a better child, Mommy would not have left.
Yeah.
So they carry along their path of life a lot of guilt, a lot of pain, and a lot of rejection. The moment a parent leaves, it's a moment of departure. They do not understand why the departure. And so they grow up to be very insecure men and women. These are the kind of husbands who call after every minute. Uko wapi? Umefika wapi? Or a lady who keeps calling, babe, where are you right now?
Yes.
It is because they are afraid of departure. Because for them, departure is something worse than, you know, it's worse than death. No wonder they say to children they process divorce worse than death.
Children?
Yes.
Process divorce as though they're processing death of a loved one.
Mourning, I think he'll explain that.
Yeah.
They go through it like they're going through mourning. He'll explain more about that. And they process it worse because it's like mourning and seeing the person you mourned yesterday again.
Yeah.
Who hurt you continuously. So I think we need to be very careful about children because at the end of the day, they go to look for peace and comfort in the wrong places. At their age, most children have not yet been able to form the hormone that gives you the stress hormone. Yeah, cortisol, the stress hormone.
Yes.
They don't have. So their bodies already begin to form a hormone that's not there. They've got to manage it. And so they've got somehow to look for an escape.
Right.
So they look for either a man, if it is a woman, a girl who feels rejected by daddy, they look for a father figure. If it is a boy, they're the very boys that today the society is complaining, amewekwa na huu mama. No, they're still looking for a mother figure in that mama.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
It's worse. And others, drugs.
We are in a society where we constantly judge people.
Yeah.
Call people, you know, mother's boy or daddy's girl and this and that. And especially what you've just mentioned, Doctor, in regards to, saying that this person amewekwa, amekaliwa chapati maybe, calling women nagging because they're always on the phone. Umefika wapi? Uko wapi? Ulisema unakuja leo, hukuji. And sometimes circumstances are beyond you. Kumbe, this is someone who's been hurt from back in the day, Doctor.
Yeah.
True. You know, one thing we say, of course, people don't divorce because they're happy. They divorce because their marriage is not working or some crisis has happened in that relationship that has brought it maybe to an abrupt end. There are those people with genuine reasons of why they divorce. But whether you come to a point where you're going to divorce,
yes,
you need to understand one thing. Your children, as a doctor has said, will never ever be prepared for what happens. And she said about the mourning process, especially for the young ones.
Yes.
Those that are between 3, 4, 5, up to around 12, 13, the early teens.
All right.
You find one moment they are seeing a parent, maybe they have gone for visitation, and then they have to leave that parent again. And they know they are not leaving that parent, and he will not be with them. The possibility of probably meeting that parent again becomes very hard. So every time they're introduced to joy, and when they are leaving again, it comes to a sense of sadness. So it is a continuous pain. And we're not saying that they are not supposed to visit.
Yes.
You can make it easier for as a parent that you need to constantly embrace these children and encourage them. But the reality is that what happens. In fact, effects of divorce have been known to linger for a lifetime.
Yeah.
You find somebody who is still 70 and is still affected by what happened many years ago. That is why we say, before you get married, think twice.
Yeah.
Because you may cause a lot of pain if you're not a person who is going to be patient.
Yes.
Something else that happens, especially for young children, you may find them having psychological issues that you may find them returning to things like bedwetting.
Yeah.
Things like nightmares. You find a child is waking up because their security, especially most of the times, you find in our society it is the men who leave.
Yeah.
So the security that was provided by a father is suddenly not there. So they wake up to nightmares. Others can go back to thumb sucking. Performance in school will go down because the concentration, they tend to lose it. And now, maybe most of the time, when they go back home, they are getting maybe a beating or maybe anapigiwa kelele na mzazi. Why are you performing poorly? Not understanding that this child is going through a crisis that they have not understood.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that children bear it hard, in a hard way. And we have to make it easy for them. And I think we shall be talking about on how to handle, because sometimes it is inevitable. But how can you make it easy for the children? Because that is very important. That's why today we are seeing so many young men who are so rebellious, and you're not understanding why they are rebelling, is because they saw the first thing, a broken marriage. They have seen rebellion in the family. So you're wondering, why are they rebelling? Others resort to some crazy behaviors like drug taking.
Right.
And we keep on blaming them. But because there was no mitigation, there was no way of handling what they were going through at that time, and there was nobody to talk to their emotions.
Right.
And some of them don't even know what to say to the kids.
You know, divorce is not, like you've just said, it's not an easy thing. You just don't wake up one day and decide to leave your husband or your wife. It is something that obviously you have thought about, but we never think of how it will necessarily affect. And especially for even young children. Children who are about maybe a few months old to 3-4 years at the most. And you wake up one day and you decide to bounce, you decide to leave. And some of the parents that do leave these relationships sometimes do it abruptly.
Yeah.
They don't even build up to it.
Yeah.
Unakujanga tu siku moja zamani unapata bibi alihama na vitu zake zote na za mtoto. Msichana wa kazi amerudishwa nyumbani kwao. Or wameenda na yeye. And you know, from there it becomes a struggle. So how can, is there even a way that you can for the child, especially if they are children of understanding age, maybe from 10 years and above, is there a way those kids can even cushion themselves without necessarily involving their parents?
Let me say at that age, they cannot. They cannot cushion themselves without involving the parents, because they do not have the right state of mind. They are still very young. They have not synthesized marriage in the beginning. They do not synthesize what is marriage. What is marriage all about? So now that I understand marriage, let me understand that there are crises in marriage. Let me understand that there is divorce. So they can't. And again, their social cycles actually make it worse. Because most of them are open and honest. They'll be saying, Daddy yako alienda wapi? Mami yako alienda wapi? And worst, they'll be hearing another child talk about daddy, naenda kwa daddy. And these one also used to go to their daddy. Or perhaps when there's a crisis in girls, you know, they like their security. And they say, I'm going to report to my daddy. And suddenly, I'm going to report to, and there is nobody to talk to talk about. That affects them so deeply. Even their sense of security and well-being is so deeply affected. And that's why we tell parents, if you need and you know this is a direction you're taking, be cautious enough to come along with your children for counseling.
Okay.
Let's talk to them about it. Let's answer their questions. And let parents also be honest enough and open enough to receive questions. I know at that point you want to hear nothing about the other spouse.
Yeah.
But if a child wants to ask a question, be ready to answer according to their age and their understanding.
Let's repeat the question of the day again as we get your feedback on this particular topic. What are some of the effects that you have gone through as a child? What are the effects of divorce on children? Let us know on our WhatsApp line 0791084696. Call us as well. The lines are already open. Here's a WhatsApp message from one of you. Hello K24, my name is Brian. My parents divorced and moved to abroad. This is Australia back in 2007 when I was still in class 2. I was left in Kenya with my auntie. My problem is that when I ask for something, they claim I am using their money badly. They do not live together. I'm still in high school. What should I do? This is Ryan from Kibera. Okay, thank you, Ryan.
Wow.
Hello, Daktaris. My name is Mustafa Said from Mikindani, Mombasa. I married this lady in 2015 and tumebarikiwa na watoto wawili. Nawapenda sana wanangu, lakini kwa mwezi sasa tumekuwa na matatizo na mke wangu. It's so bad that it might lead to divorce. My children love their mother and I love my kids. And I know for a fact that divorce would break their heart. I need advice, please. Thank you very much, Said. from Mombasa. Aya. We also have my dad left, in quotes, his first wife 28 years ago. They had been married for only 5 years and with 3 kids. Now the woman left them while very young. They had officiated the marriage through the chief and done the traditional kugurana. Simply kupelekea wazazi kitu. Okay, after 1 year he married my mom and they've been in marriage for 27 years na walilea wale watoto pamoja. Now the sons wameanza kuchukia my mom after wakwe wakubwa wakishapatana na mamake. My question is this: can that woman ask for any property from my dad, bearing in mind alimwacha 28 years ago bila mali? Okay. Well, I hope you've captured those ones there. As we take this call. Hello, K24 this morning.
Hello.
How are you doing, sir?
Hello.
Habari yako?
Salama Mbuvi.
Yes, habari yako?
This is Kagwema from Limuru.
Yes, Kagwema. Nice to hear your voice.
Yeah.
What is your question or comment?
My comment on the effects of divorce is that, first of all, I congratulate the Kimanis. They are doing a good job.
Amen.
And they are very smart.
Yes,
Thank
indeed,
you.
we are.
Particularly Jane. And actually, the divorce mediation is a very challenging issue.
Yes.
When people are divorced, when they are divorced, the mediation of divorce, how the divorce is going to be through the courts, maybe through the other cultural areas. It is very draining for the children, and it has a lot of effects on their rights, you know, especially when a lady wants to get married, and he knows that the dad divorced the mother, and probably he wants to have a church wedding, and he has to be presented the church by the father, and they are not living together with the mother.
Yes.
That becomes very challenging. I've had these cases in my counseling profession.
Yes.
That is also the effect of a man or a woman, somebody from that divorce process, hating to get married.
Yes.
Thinking that every man are dumb, because like his father, or every woman is a child, you know.
Yes, yes.
That kind of stuff. So it has got very wrong effects on the children who are left. And I think what needs to be done, especially with the children, because we have a churches, marital counseling for those who are getting married. Proper marital counseling. Let people know why are they getting married.
Okay.
Can you delay your gratification until you get to know why are you getting married?
Very
That's
true.
my take. Thank you so much, Boo. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Kagwema, for that one. Indeed. Especially that apart for men are dogs, women are trash. We shall get to that in a second. Let's first of all start with the gentleman who has said that for the last 1 month, wamekuwa na shida na bibi yake and it will lead to divorce. They love their kids, obviously, but it will break the kids' hearts. This guy has already seen it's going down.
The end is divorce. I want to talk to you, Mustafa. He was called Mustafa. Mustafa, it doesn't have to end in divorce. It's a month problem. Look for a counselor. Look for somebody that you two can respect and honor. Look for a solution in that situation. It does not have to end in divorce. And that's what we keep saying. I would rather anything, but it doesn't have to end in divorce unless there is no option.
I believe actually a lot of religious books will say that God doesn't
God hates divorce.
Yeah,
but however, yes, and I want to also tell Mustafa, look at possibility. One thing about marriage, movie, you've got to be possibility minded. Possibility minded. That yes, things may be looking so bad, but I know it will work out. Because if you set your mind that it's going to fail, children love mommy, I love children, now there's going to be a problem. No, be possibility minded. That this relationship can work yet once again.
Okay. It's good to be positivity minded, and just like Mustafa mentioned, his relationship is just a month old. Or rather, the problem, sorry, not the relationship.
Only a month old.
Yeah, the problem is a month old. And I'm assuming, it could be, let's even assume the worst of the worst. Infidelity was included there. There is still light at the end of the tunnel.
In fact, what we say, look at some of the issues that we face every single day. We don't close a business because simply it's not doing well. And what happens in the reason why people sometimes will divorce is because they reach a place and their focus is hurting each other.
Right.
So the man thinks, if I leave my wife, I will hurt her, she will miss me so much. Atajua kweli mimi nilikuwa mwanaume na alikuwa nahitaji. The woman thinks the same. They think that by being negative, they are going to create a positive result. But if they were to look, Mustafa, in fact, my advice would be, sit with your wife and listen. For the first time, listen objectively.
Right.
Ask her, what is it that I'm doing that is hurting you? And be genuine to yourself. And if you can be able to listen to her, because she's telling you the truth about what is hurting her. If it is her, let her also, you also sit down and tell her, this is what is hurting me in this relationship. Then both of you look at the ways of providing to each other's needs. Very soon you'll find that relationship working. But what happens is that they may be looking at the kids. And one of the key things, especially in divorce, is that the couples or any one of them will want to use the kids as the weapon of hurting each other. So it's like if he leaves me, he will never see the kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now that happens, it creates turmoil within the children. They become angry because they feel like we were not involved at all.
Right.
We were not even considered. Because most of the times when divorce is happening, the kids are not considered, their opinion is not considered. And it introduces a lot of anger to them. And secondly, it also introduces a sense of high-level insecurity. They look at that situation, they don't want to see anything that is probably related to marriage or anything related to those things that may have caused the relationship to come to an end.
Okay.
So my challenge would be, even if you're considering divorce, na nyinyi wawili hamwezi sikizana, look for a seasoned person who is not subjective but objective, who will tell you to the face what you need to do. And that can turn around any relationship.
Good stuff. All right, the other couple, the other gentleman who has talked about the fact that his parents, you know, have been divorced, you know, years ago. Now, ule mama mwingine amerudi sasa 28 years later.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Number one, to answer his question, is she entitled to property, number one? And then number two, why are the other kids of the previous mother disrespecting this other mother now?
Yeah, let me tell you, I think for all the issues I've listened to, it always ends up that way. That when these children grow up and then they later team up with their mother, it is like a fight against this one. And you know, a lot of misinformation that is a woman who caused me to leave the home. And you see, children and their mothers will always be bonded. Hata kama huyu amewalea, na amewalea
for 27 years.
Yes. The minute they meet their blood mother, and their blood mother begins to cry, you know, that woman made me so desperate. Would still have been together with your daddy.
Kama siko kimama.
So they make that woman the object of fight. It is a psychological affair of women. Let me tell you, women are very bad at psychological warfare. You can't beat them.
Yeah.
So I want to tell that gentleman, don't even worry about the fact that they're disrespecting or dishonoring, but your dad should be the person who should stand in the gap to protect your mother.
Yes.
It should actually be your dad. Number two, I want to say about her getting her right to inherit. I think it is the sons who, from that family, who still have got a right to inherit from that family, not the mother.
So the ex-wife has got no stake.
No, 27 years is too long. Yeah.
Well, Daktari, maybe you have a different opinion, or you would like to accentuate that one?
Maybe what I would add is that the children are now beginning to see their mom being disrespected because they met the other person. I think they need to stop, they need to remove themselves from the fight.
Yeah.
And they allow the parents to handle that. And it calls for the man now, the wisdom for the man to be able to handle. Their mother also, at this time is where she becomes very sober.
Yeah.
Because they're expecting your mother to react negatively, and therefore they will justify their action. This is the way. So at this particular time, it is where you young men, if you're a young man, you need to support that parent.
Right.
There was also somebody who talked about their parents divorced and they went to Australia, and now he's like, they are blamed by both. And that's what we were coming to. We were saying sometimes parents will beat down on their kids because they think by fighting their kid, then the other parent will feel the weight.
Yes.
I think what you need to do as a young person is to be accountable.
Okay.
Don't ask for money unjustifiably. Write your needs to both your parents. Then they can be able to see where your money is going to. Okay. Otherwise, if you're not accountable, any parent anywhere, even if they're not divorced, will tell you, unatumia pesa viba.
Unatumia pesa vibaya. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're taking a short break right now, but don't forget our question of the day. We asked you, what are some of the effects? We just spoke to that gentleman from Australia who says, anafeel ni kama wanamnyima do, or rather wanamblame kutumia do vibaya. Are you a product or a child that has gone through your parents' divorce? Let us know some of the effects and also how you overcame some of these things. And also, even as parents, if you've been in a situation whereby, yes, you divorced, you separated, but things were amicable. Mulifanya handshake kama ile ya Uhuru na Raila. If things are good, then let us know so that we can also help the people out there. We'll be right back. Do not go too far. Welcome back to K24 this morning. My name is Mungala Mbuvi, joined by DR.Julius and DR.Jane. We are talking about the effects of divorce on children, and here's our question of the day. What are the effects of divorce on children? Very straightforward there. K24 TV across all social media networks, and our WhatsApp line is right there on your screen. Also, call us. Would like to hear from you. Speaking of which, let's take a look at WhatsApp just to understand what we are talking about today, and also, of course, your feedback. My name is Veronica. I'm now married for 5 months. My husband has changed everything before we get married. Bado tulikuwa tunasumbuana. I loved him, but alikuwa ananionyesha madharau sana kwa nyumba. Hatuongei. Kila time yeye hushinda online. Every time kunionyesha madharau. Nikimuuliza ananiambia hata kwani where this your love goes na huyu mtu akiingia kwa how he is so insecure with his phone. Ikaenda password na ikaekwa password rather na ikaambiwa nisiwahi guza. Months ago he was so good to me, ati huwa ananiambia ati huwa namkalia. It's his time ya kusema. Aya, DR.Julius hiyo ni yako. Aya, let's look at Mario. Anasema, hello, I'm Marion from Eldoret. I'm 21 years old. And my parents have been married for 25 years now. Whenever I see them, I'm so encouraged that marriage can really work in spite of challenges. But given the fact that we are in a society that embraces divorce more than reconciliation, it portrays a negative impact on future relationships. I believe the society also has a big role to play when it comes to the impact of divorce on children. Aya. Kunaye huyu anasema, morning movie and the pastors. I'm John from Riru. I was married for less than a year. We parted ways 9 years ago. Since then, up to date, I was totally affected. I emotionally or rather emotionally, in ways than I am able to love again. I have a daughter together who I guess she suffers a lot more than I do. Is there any chance of loving again, but not her, please? Oh, yeah. All right, thank you, John from Ruiru, and of course, everyone else who has texted. Keep on texting. Let's see if we can tackle as many as we can. So, Daktari, let's start with the first one. Yulia Mesema, they've been married for 5 months, but the husband has changed.
The husband has changed. Now, one thing, nimesikia akisema kitu moja, like the man has come to a place where he says, ataki kukaliwa.
Yes.
Now, I think what you have is a misunderstanding of, number one, he has a misunderstanding of what to be a man is. Because some men think because now the woman is maybe earning more or maybe making some demands, hiyo ni kukaliwa.
Yes.
And this could be a term from outside, who he's hanging out with. And you need to sit down with him because this is something very simple.
Yes.
Just understand from his mind what it means kukaliwa. Because I think he has misunderstood that kukaliwa ni ukiwacha passport, ikiwa open, hiyo ni kukaliwa. Ati ukikuwa mzuri sana kwa nyumba, hata una smile na wife yako, hiyo ni kukaliwa. I think he has a wrong mentality. And the word of God says, a woman with wisdom is able to build a home. It is a high time to use a lot of wisdom. Number one, show him that you are not that way. You're not looking for password, because if he's changing password, probably there is also an aspect of you that could be nosy. So you need to because anybody can do anything. So the thing is to bring assurance to that relationship where he can come to a level of trusting you as a lady.
Right.
If he's not able to sow love, begin to plant it in his life.
Okay.
And be firm in some of the things that you are not appreciating, but not in a negative way.
Okay. Because
anybody can listen as long as you have a sober conversation and you're not negative in the way you converse with him.
All right. That's actually an interesting perspective. Then there's the one, the last one, I think.
Who asked if you could love again?
Yes.
From Riru.
Yes.
I want to tell you one thing. You can love again. The problem that people have is that they stagnate in a particular place and they live in that place 9 years ago. I'll tell you, wake up. You are still fixated to that moment of separation.
Of 9 years ago.
Yeah, he's still fixated.
Let's answer a call first of all from Joshua here. Joshua, good morning.
Good morning, Mbuvi. Salimia pastors hapo.
Wamesalimika.
Sasa, I want to start by differing with Daktari.
Yes.
When she said that children process divorce the same way they process death. I think unless you are certain that unless you get a child who has experienced death of a parent and divorce, I think that conclusion will be inconclusive and it will remain speculative. Number two, I do not think small children really understand the concept of marriage and divorce.
Okay.
You see, when divorces don't just happen in a half.
Right.
It's a process whereby you start, there are wrangles, there is some sort of absenteeism, then there is some lack of consistency, especially if, like, for example, the dad is going away.
Yes.
There is that dad is no longer, is not coming that much, is not bringing me what he used to bring. And it's not like the mothers or the fathers, whoever is left with the children, is an idiot. There is a way they prepare the children for that position. So
yeah.
if the mother or the father realizes that they are divorcing and the kids are asking why dad is not coming, there is a way parents actually orientate their children and tell them, okay, dadini vile alisafiri, lakini atarudi. The only children who actually feel the pain and the effects of a divorce are kids who are grown up, especially those who are above the age of 15, because they know dad was the provider, dad was our protector, he was the breadwinner. But small children below the age of 12, I think the whole effect of divorce on children is a bit overrated.
All right, thank you very much, Joshua. I will let Daktari probably explain that again in a short while. We have another caller as well. Julius, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
How are you? I'm very fine, sir. What is your question or comment?
Yes, first I want to appreciate Julian and Madam.
Yes.
Thank
I used to watch Day 24 ever since 2015 back, and
Okay.
I really like their
Awesome.
advice and contribution towards marriage. And they believe that families work.
Okay.
Well, I believe the issue of divorce has been a major issue, and especially to children.
Yes.
Like in my family, I have a sister who is, I don't know about to go the same or what. They have had really serious differences with her husband. Her husband is a branch manager of a big bank.
All right.
But now the spouse is so abusive. The marriage began from a very faithful ground. They were unionized in church. They were all born again. But all of a sudden, the guy turned abusive because his wife prostituted. And I know the background in which we have been brought in a family.
Yes.
Was my sister. It's a very faithful. We are Christian. My sister can never do anything abusive. And it reached a point that for us, we had to, because it reached a point that we felt the life of my sister is in danger.
Yeah.
We had to rescue her first. And
Of
bring
course.
her together with our 3 children to our home after 14 years of marriage.
Of course.
Now, we don't know. We believe that life is God-given and nobody should threaten the life of the other, whether in marriage or in any situation. But now in such scenarios, how do you handle such people? Because, we as a family, we are very respectable. But the guy turned so abusive to us, disrespecting our family to an extent that he mentions each and everybody in a negative way. He brought us in a family, although he's a manager of a bank, he brought us in a family that he never associated
Very abusive.
with his mother. He called his mother a witch. He can never talk to anybody.
We know such people, Julius. Dr. will be addressing that in a short while as well. So thank you very much for your call. Aya.
Okay, thank you.
So ulikuwa unamalizia kwanza before we get to the death part, divorces, death, and of course the abusive spouse.
Yeah, so I was telling the person, don't get fixated at where you are left and separated.
Right.
That's why we use words like move on. That you can move on, and that takes your willpower to accept, yes, this happened, yes, there was a mistake, yes, we separated. Yes, we are no longer together, but life does not stop there. Life still moves on. So you have to stop fixating.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got to stop fixating. And 9 years is so long a time that by now you would have processed the pain and you would have been out of the pain. But you see, you stay in the pain for as long as you allow your mind to remain in the events that happened that day. So move from that event, look for a beautiful girl, take time, somebody who honors you and respects you, and also own up that in this divorce I made this mistake. So I need somebody, and I need to be honest, a counselor who will help me also to get out of my mistake so that I don't repeat the same error.
Okay.
Now, I also want to just perhaps get a line or two about the gentleman who talked about children below 12 don't understand divorce, and children do not process divorce the same way. The same way, not the same way they process death, or let's say mourning. Number one, children below the age of 12, at the age of 4 to 12 years to 13, boys begin to bond with their fathers, which will later shift. So children are not so bothered about provision. They are bothered about bonding. Girls bond with their fathers from day one.
Okay.
That's the psychology of their growth. So the moment this person is not there, what happens? There is a gap. And what they feel about this gap is like somebody has been taken from this world. In my own small world was a person I had bonded with. For the girl, that is their first boyfriend, quote unquote. They learn how to be loved, to be appreciated, and to love and appreciate with their fathers. And boys, the same way. Boys learn to become men with their fathers. And for those who are divorced, of course, any other man figure that's around. So the reason why I say it can affect, beyond 13, of course, they have their pain. We cannot say that they, beyond 13 feels because of provision is not there, money is not. At times, money is there. At times, these women have got enough money.
Yeah.
But it is the emotional attachment and the tear that happens in their emotions that makes them feel it's like this person has left me for good.
Yeah.
And it happens for as soon as they begin to bond.
Yeah.
Especially from the age of 2, 3, 4 years going on, the effect happens. And so that's the effect we say. They begin to mourn. This person left me. Why did they leave me? Without answers. So they go through a similar effect psychologically. They begin to retard even in their growth if nothing is done as an interference immediately.
Okay.
Just the same effect you see in mourning is the same effect you'll see in them, psychologically, performance in class, psychomotor skills, if there is no interference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So even in their eating habits.
Even
things
in
happen.
the eating habits, bedwetting, as Dr. talked about, all this happens when they are mourning.
Yeah.
They begin to bedwet, they begin to lose focus, and when divorce happens, they go through the same similar processes.
The gentleman who was called in about abuse, a lot of, and I would like you to answer it together with this tweet from, where is it? From Abu Bakar. Abu Bakar anasema, they'll probably be fed with lies to hate their other parent, could lead to a belief that the other gender is evil, rebellion, self-denial. They'll secretly admire other kids with both parents and wish they too had the privilege, and he's speaking from experience. Thank you very much, Abu Bakar, for your tweet. Okay, so kuna yule jamaa amepiga simu akasema that you will find that there are some parents like that bank manager who would start now insulting even probably his in-laws, saying that kuko nyu kwanza mko na wachawi, mama yako hata kwanza ni mjinga sana, baba yako ni mjinga sana, and so on and so forth. I mean, how do we help such a situation whereby even mama akitoka anaenda anakuambia baba yake, mtoto wake rather, ati baba yako unajua ni mjinga sana, unajua baba yako huko unaona alikuwa ananichapa usiku, and so on and so on. And maybe it's a lie. So how do you deal with such a person?
Now, as I said when I was beginning, divorce is rough. And it pains the person who is being left or the person living. And one of the reactions that happen, it is that thing of name calling. Because now you take up and lump up their daughter. If you have left the daughter and probably she was the one you didn't have an agreement with, now you lump up the whole clan with this particular woman and you keep on calling them names. Now you need to understand that those people who have divorced, whether it's your sister or the man who left, both of them are in a place of pain.
Right.
And some people express pain by keeping quiet. Others express pain by just disappearing from the scene. Others become abusive like this man has become abusive. I think there is a need to understand that this man has not healed. Maybe your sister has healed, but this person has not healed.
Right.
There is very little that you can be able to do to change him. It is you as a family that you need to look, what is the truth behind? What he's saying, is it true? If it is not true, you may not be able to change him, but you can be able to change the way you receive or you hear such things. There are things you just negate. Because you can have somebody throwing stones at you. Now the best thing you can do instead of just allowing the stones to hit you is to duck away and avoid this particular person. But I also want to speak to the people, like you're saying, those men or women who will go lumping accusations upon their father.
Right.
Let me tell you, what you're doing, you are creating more pain to the child that you're telling that. Because for them, yes, they may have seen some abuse, but a father is still a father to them.
Yes,
a
they
mother
need
is
to
still
respect this person.
No matter. In fact, one of the things that we say, look at the children and see the gift that was left to you. If you cannot appreciate that man or that woman for anything, look at what they left for you, the children that are there. And stop using the children as, in fact, we've gotten counseling. You know, we've gotten kids who have come in and they will tell you, just tell my mom or my dad to stop telling me about their issues. Because they are not wired to process some of emotional. They are not mature enough to process some of the emotions. So I wish for parents who are listening, don't bleed on your children. Because you will cause them to go down emotionally and they will be so affected and they will be afraid of relationships in the future because of what they have seen you go through.
The gentleman also mentioned assaults. They had to go rescue their sister because bwana yake alikuwa anamchapa. So as you answer that one, Paul Hika on Twitter says, what happens when my wife blocks me from accessing my first ever daughter after I divorced her for assaulting me? So this is a situation whereby pia huyu jamaa alikuwa anachapwa na bibi yake. tumesikia the bank manager who used to beat the wife as well. And it gets to a point whereby now we are even blocking each other from seeing the kids. Yet the issue that I have with you, Dr. Jane, is with you, not with our beautiful daughter or son.
True. And you know, that's a weapon that most women use. And unfortunately, they don't understand that they're wounding their children in the process by keeping them away from their fathers. Now, there's so many ways to go about it. Number one, he can go to court. He can go to the children's court, and he can report. And yes, he'll be given permission legally. He can use a lawyer.
Yes.
He can use a lawyer. He'll be given permission legally to see his daughter, and the terms and conditions will be determined by the court of law.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Paul, there you have it. In case you're being blocked from, and anyone else, of course, if you're being blocked from seeing your child, tafadhali, make it very clear. The law, by the way, it's not even your right. I'll tell you this because I've been through the process.
I know.
It is not your right to see, well, it is your right to see your child, but it is equally as much as the child's right to see you. So if you do not want to see your child, the court may actually force you to see your child.
Yes.
Because the child needs, unless of course there's a reason why you shouldn't be seeing the children, if you're a abusive person or assault.
Or mentally unstable.
Exactly. Violent. Hizo wanayokotita itaingia katikati seme hutaiona mtoto wako. Lakini everyone else out there, you have the right, and the child also has the right to see you. True. Okay, so in a situation where parents are beating up each other, then it is okay, first of all, to have that kind of distancing.
No, it is very important because also that traumatizes children. And that's why sometimes you'll find there's a small number of children who will be like, I'm so happy my dad went. Because of what they saw, the violence that was meted on their mother. And sometimes the violence can spill even to the kids. So if that's kind of a situation, I think that is more, it is more tormenting for that couple to stay in marriage, because it will actually affect the kids in a deeper way when they keep on seeing the violence.
Yes.
And that's why you see some of the kids, when you go to school, they're so violent. And you're not understanding that they're coming from a place where they feel like, I cannot defend my mom. But when they go out there, they feel like they can beat up other kids. They can break up a few things in classes. And so I think with issues where there is a lot of abuse in a marriage, separation would be the wise thing to do.
Yeah. There's a Raymond Kimathi here on Twitter who says that effects are worse on men. I know that we are focusing on the children, but it's fair to also mention men in this one, because you know, people believe that majority of the times, which I do not have the facts, but majority of the times it's the men who leave. Wanaonanga hapa kaka mama mimi siwezani nako, and she's kicked out. But people don't understand that the man is one also who suffers in this situation.
Yeah, and do you know the reason why men suffer more, and they suffer for long, or rather longer than the women, is because for women there is a speech therapy.
Right.
We'll talk to anybody and everybody. In fact, even the person who sits next to you in the matatu.
Utafungua roho.
Utaambia, you know, me, my husband, me sielawangi men. And you know what is happening? You're healing. But men rarely talk.
Yes.
And men rarely accept pain.
Yeah. They
feel pain, but they'll not agree that, you know, it's really hurting, it's really paining. So I think men also need to have people they can talk to. And if there is nobody you can trust, go to a counselor and talk until your heart begins to heal.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you have it. Effects on men as well. Because, you know, women will cry. Utaona kadem katakonda, alafu 3 months later, kasponyoka inge aanze kunona. Okay. Still on the effects of the effects on the children, even growing up, when they become adults like us in this day and age, and especially children who've been brought up by single mothers. Yeah, because daddy walked away a long time ago, akaenda akapata bibi mwingine, amezaa watoto wengine 17. His life is continuing, but he will see a lot of girls who grow up in this day and age. They will start saying that men are trash because their father, who was quote unquote trash 10 years ago, walked out, and they have seen their mother struggle, provide for them, and they're like, mimi hakuna kitu mwanaume ataniambia.
True. Yeah. Rebellion.
Hakuna kitu mwanaume anaweza niambia mimi. Because if my mother could do it, so
on her own.
Yeah.
If my mother could make it on her own.
Yeah. And I know this is a touchy subject, but some even end up falling in love with other women because they're like, me hakuna kitu mwanaume anaweza niambia. You know?
And that's why we're having a generation of ladies who do not want to get married, but they want children.
Yes.
And they categorically do not want to get married.
And they're very clear.
They're clear about that. I want my own child. I want you to father my child. And that is it. I do not want a man in my life. Why? Because if you talk to such women, they've been wounded too deeply while still growing up. And most people think it's a sense of independence. No, it's a defense mechanism.
So wale mademu wote wanakuanga zile za mimi sitaki mwanaume kwa maisha yangu.
It's a defense mechanism.
And what you've said is true. I think we have tackled such a situation right here on Relationship Thursday, whereby women just come and they just want to have a child with you. And they won't even tell you. They'll just make sure that they have conceived. Na unaona msichana anakuzimia simu, unashangaa nilifanya nini.
Yeah.
Kumbe ni hii maneno.
Yeah, it's a defense mechanism. They realize the biological clock of every woman gets to a time you want to have a baby.
Yeah.
So they want to have a baby of their own. But there is somebody along their line, themselves or their mothers, who are so wounded, either their mothers growing up, that they passed a lot of pain to them in speech. And these mothers usually tend to be financially successful.
Yes.
And so we have a generation that is interpreting money as success. No, to be successful is all round.
They have too much masculine energy.
They have too much. No, it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
They will even make the money to defend themselves. That's why I don't need you for what? I have a house. What value are you adding to my life? These are people who need now a different schooling.
I've begun to understand a lot of my ex-girlfriends. Let's see some messages on WhatsApp. Here we go. Okay, hi Mbuvi, I am Sharon from Nakuru. I'm in a marriage where the man has a daughter, though the mother is not around. When we met, he told me that there is nothing going on between him and the lady. Later, I came to realize that these people are talking, and when I asked him, he claims that he's talking to this lady to get back his daughter. Life is not easy, my friend. I'm living in pain. Help me, please. Should I walk out out to let him wait for the lady? I am just 24. Okay, Dr.Jane Niako. Guys, we have like 2 minutes. My name is Susan. I'm in a blended family. My 2 daughters and my husband's 2 daughters. I am officially separated by my baby daddy, and he supports his daughter's education, and he has access to his daughters. My problem is the mother of my stepdaughters, who keeps reappearing and brainwashes her firstborn, who is 9 years old, and I know she has access to the child. My worry is what future impact on this child. Sometimes she's on her own world until I am taking some deep time with her, and I know I can't fit like her mother. I'm worried for her future. The mom comes when drunk. Daktari, in 1 minute, how can you address this lady?
No, I think she's already doing a very good job.
Yes.
Because she's become a part of where she's able to talk to the girl when she's talked to by the mother who comes drunk. You have to keep on doing that, because this is like an injury, that this child goes and gets an injury.
Yes.
And so you have to come and repair that injury.
Yes.
Meanwhile, at the time, just keep on doing that, keep on reassuring this girl, and that is the way you'll drive her, because she will reach a place when she will be able to make decisions.
Yes.
And see, really, it is not you who is bad, it is the other lady who is not okay.
Okay. Daktari, the last one that we've just read, sorry, the previous one, sorry.
The previous one, she
about
said,
the lady who's saying that now the baby mama, previous marriage, ameanza kujitokeza tena.
And they talk a lot with the husband. That's the challenge. And that's why I tell ladies who are getting married to somebody who has just divorced or separated, let them take time, because he may be healing and bleeding on you just to heal. And then after he heals, he realizes, now I'm okay, we can rework back our marriage. It was only a separation. You are only 24 years. One thing, seek for a counseling session. Request him that the two of you sit in for counseling so that you iron out this issue. Number 2, if he's honest enough, tell him you don't want to get involved. You want yourself involved in the issues about this child with that woman.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Guys, we've come to the end. But there's Duke Moi hapa amesema. Okay, Dr. Julius, there's something you said. In a situation where there is violence in a relationship, then divorce is necessary. Maybe you can clarify that, because Duke Moi is saying not according to Christian doctrine. So in 10 seconds, what does the Bible say about divorce?
I said separation is necessary.
Okay.
Separation is where you are able to take time apart, and you are able to sit down probably with counselors, so that you can find out some of how you can end up this kind of abuse.
Okay.
But you cannot stay in a marriage where you are seeing your life is at risk.
True.
God does not, I mean, even God has given us some wisdom. You can't see a guy coming home with a gun every day and you say, I'm sticking to this marriage. You stay away.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, in Christianity, you may not be allowed to remarry. But the thing is, you cannot stay in a marriage where you know that you're going to lose your life. Yes.
Utakuwa unachapa kila siku, kazi yako ni kulala Kenyatta Hospital. Siku moja utalala City Mortuary.
True.
This topic clearly inakani kama itaisha. Sijui kama producer atatuallow tuendelee nayo maybe another time. That is a subject for discussion. We come to the end. We take a bow right now. Thank you very much for tuning in. Shikoka Itani is coming up next with the Daily Brief, so do not go too far. Tomorrow, Friday, it's a hangout one, and it's going to be Moto. You know how we do. DJ Chakula Chef Manga is coming through, and lots of dancing courtesy of our DJ. Do stand by on our social media pages to find out who that is going to be. But until that time, thank you very much for tuning in. See you tomorrow.